A Berlin court has ruled that the rejection of asylum seekers is unlawful, dealing a major blow to Chancellor Friedrich Merz's immigration policy. Syria's stock exchange has resumed trading after being closed for 6 months in the run-up to the ouster of longtime President Bashar al-Assad. A court in Berlin ruled that the rejection of asylum seekers at borders is unlawful, dealing a major blow to Chancellor Friedrich Merz's immigration policy. The court ruled after considering appeals from 3 Somali nationals who sought asylum but were turned away after arriving by train from Poland.
In diesem Einzelfallbeschluss geht es um 3 Somalier, die versucht haben, am 2. Mai bereits die deutsche Grenze von Polen Richtung Deutschland zu überqueren, sind dabei zurückgewiesen worden. Sie haben zu diesem Zeitpunkt kein Asylbegehren gestellt. Ferner sind sie dann am 3. Mai erneut an der deutschen Grenze erschienen, wurden wieder zurückgewiesen, haben auch zu diesem Zeitpunkt kein Asylbegehren gestellt. Am 9. Mai sind sie erneut an der deutschen Grenze erschienen, haben da ein Asylbegehren gestellt.
The court says at least one of the foreign nationals had valid evidence of vulnerability. It added that the Merz government was in violation of asylum laws by not examining the applications. It also noted that the new federal government was violating the EU's Dublin immigration system. Dobrindt, however, insisted that the government's immigration initiatives will not change.
Wir halten im Übrigen an den Zurückweisungen fest. Wir sehen, dass die Rechtsgrundlage gegeben ist und werden deswegen weiter so verfahren, ganz unabhängig von dieser Einzelfallentscheidung.
Merz had vowed in his campaign trail to crack down on immigration. In May, his conservative government unveiled new measures which seek to impose a blanket ban on asylum applications.
Direct peace talks between Russia and Ukraine ended after just over an hour in Istanbul, as delegations met for the second time in around 2 weeks. Neither President Zelensky nor Putin attended the talks. Both had sent delegations with memoranda outlining their terms. Speaking in Vilnius, Lithuania, Zelensky said both sides exchanged documents through the Turkish side and are now preparing a new release of prisoners of war. Expectations for a breakthrough in ending the 3-year-old war were low, and recent statements by senior officials from both countries suggested they remain deeply divided on key conditions. President Zelensky is calling for a conclusive ceasefire, the release of prisoners and the return of abducted children, terms he insists must carry consequences for Russia if they are not met. Russia has not yet definitively outlined its terms, but Putin has previously demanded Ukraine withdraw from Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson, 4 regions Russia illegally annexed in 2022 but has never fully controlled. This was rejected by Kyiv and its allies. The talks come against the backdrop of a recent escalation in fighting on both sides, with Ukraine launching a surprise attack on 4 Russian air bases and Russia carrying out the largest-scale drone assault on Ukraine yet on Sunday.
Trading has resumed on the Damascus Securities Exchange after a 6-month-long break. It was closed from early December in the chaotic days of a surprise rebellion that led to the ouster of former longtime President Bashar al-Assad. But now, Syria's new leadership is looking to shore up the country's battered economy and begin rebuilding after almost 14 years of civil war.
رؤية الدولة الاقتصادية تقوم على ريادة القطاع الخاص وتشجيع الاستثمار والعدالة والإنصاف ومكافحة الفقر. نحن منفتحين على الاستثمار، ليس لدينا أي عقد، ليس لدينا أي قيود، منفتحين على الاستثمار، من نرغب أن يستثمر في سوريا أهلا وسهلا به. سيجد الفرص الكثيرة وسيجد الفائدة الكبيرة وسيبني قصص نجاح.
The move to reopen comes as international restrictions on Syria's financial systems are beginning to ease. U.S. President Donald Trump was the first to announce the lifting of sanctions on Syria in a visit to Riyadh in May during his tour of the Middle East. The UK and EU also followed suit and eased restrictions and lifted sanctions in a bid to give the country a chance at recovery and rebuilding. Last week, Syria also signed a mega €6.1 billion deal with a consortium of Qatari, US, and Turkish energy companies. The deal will see these companies champion various energy projects that are expected to supply the country with more than half of its electricity needs.
Poland's National Electoral Commission has confirmed Karol Nawrocki as the winner of the presidential election, narrowly defeating Rafał Trzaskowski. The result highlights a divided society and raises concerns over future political stability. Outgoing President Andrzej Duda called the vote a message to Prime Minister Tusk.
Raczej dwie strony są po dwóch stronach barykady. Ale Nawrocki jest wielką niewiadomą, także nikt nie wie.
Musimy ochłonąć najpierw, czy to w ogóle jest możliwe jakieś ułożenie. Mam nadzieję, że jednak mądrość wygra i w jakiś sposób te relacje się ułożą i ten naród nie będzie taki podzielony, jak jest w tej chwili.
Nie ma porozumienia między rządem a prezydentem. Są dwa różne światy. Świat polski i świat niemiecki.
Ma wartości religijne i to jest bokser. A bokser będzie boksował.
Wygląda na to, jakby nowy prezydent Nawrocki był wybrany prawie na życzenie, po to, żeby koalicja przez następne 5 lat mogła się skarżyć, jak nie mogą niczego załatwić, był prezydent im zamyka drzwi przed nosem.
Nie jestem Polakiem, ale myślę, że sytuacja jest bardzo zła i to będzie super ciężko.
Donald Tusk has announced plans to renegotiate the coalition deal and reshuffle his government.
Results of a government probe into Sweden's adoption practices prompted its lead investigator on Monday to call for a halt to all international adoptions. According to the Adoption Commission, the Swedish state must acknowledge violations of human rights and formally apologize to adoptees and their families. It also proposed that Sweden introduce long-term support for victims.
När det gäller då den framtida internationella adoptionsverksamheten så är mitt förslag att verksamheten med att förmedla barn för adoption till Sverige avvecklas.
Den internationella adoptionsverksamheten har syftat till att erbjuda föräldralösa barn i andra delar av världen föräldrar och en kärleksfull familj. Men frågor har väckts om huruvida oegentligheter skett. Och därför hoppas jag att kommissionens utredning ger svar på, eller är ett första steg mot att ge svar på de här frågorna.
During the probe, investigators said they discovered confirmed cases of child trafficking and illegal adoptions in every decade from the 1970s to the 2000s. The report makes Sweden the latest country to examine its international adoption policies after allegations of unethical practices.
EU Commissioner says anyone who wants to join in solidarity with the LGBTQ community in Hungary should do so. Commissioner Jessica Roswell, EU Commissioner for the Environment, was responding to the Hungarian government's decision to ban the Gay Pride Parade. The decision has been heavily condemned by a majority of EU member states, including France, Germany, and Spain.
So European Union is built on values, which of course we all stand behind, and this is the pressure we are in this union. One of the key things is it's built on this precious value of people's freedom, loving whoever they want to, or rule of law and all these things. So I stand of course behind that, and I myself been to many prides, only in Stockholm though, and also my small town Enköping where I live.
Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Justice and Rule of Law, Michael McGrath, has called freedom of assembly a fundamental right that must be protected. He insisted that this is not a threat to children, which is what the Hungarian parliament has argued on the basis of the child protection law. As for Roswell, she does not want to make decisions for others, but says that this is at the center of her beliefs in the European Union.
I don't tell people what to do, but that's what I truly believe in, and that is also the core of this European Union.
The parade is set to take place on June 28th, with some MEPs confirming their presence, but so far no commissioners have done the same.
Germany's former foreign minister Annalena Baerbock was appointed president of the United Nations General Assembly on Monday following an election in which she ran unopposed. Baerbock, who was elected to the position with a simple majority, will fill the top job at the Assembly, a role of primarily ceremonial significance. The role, which she will hold for 1 year, largely involves organizing plenary sessions among the UN's 193 represented countries. Russia, which was opposed to Baerbock's nomination, asked for a secret ballot on Monday, but the vote was considered a formality in the run-up to her election. Baerbock will be inaugurated on the 9th of September, shortly before the UN General Assembly holds its general debate.
Europe's largest active volcano, Mount Etna, located on the Italian island of Sicily, has erupted. Large plumes of smoke could be seen rising kilometers high above the volcano. The eruption occurred after parts of Mount Etna's southeastern crater collapsed, resulting in hot lava flows, according to the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology. The agency says the spectacle was the 14th eruptive phase of the volcano in recent months. A volcanic tremor was first detected in the early hours of Monday. Multiple explosions known as strombolian eruptions followed for several hours. No deaths or injuries were reported in the eruptions, and officials say there is presently no immediate danger to people. Mount Etna erupts several times a year, and its activity is closely monitored due to its proximity to populated areas and high tourist attraction.